Welcome to the Final Scoop podcast. My name is Robert Schinetsky, the supplement engineer. Joining us is our cavalcade of characters that always is a present in Lukasz Rytkowski of Prometeus Intelligent Sports Technology, Shane Smith, Stack3d News, Robert Samborsky joining us on his mother and his daughter's birthday. Sorry, your wife and your daughter's birthday party. That is dedication. And TJ Fitness, the person of listen, people, I don't give a fuck. How are we doing, my friend?
Engineer.
Here we are again, my friends. How is everybody doing?
Good.
Outstanding. All right, so the get to know you segment, as we've begun the past 2 weeks with this. So far we've covered TJ and Lukasz. So I think I'm going to give it to Robbie this week. So you've got the big day going on at your household, Robbie. So we're going to make you the feature guest this week. Right. So let's get your background into everything.
Okay, so I was born in Ukraine in 1975, and at the age of 13, I moved to Israel, lived in Israel for a couple of years, then moved to South Africa, and then at the age of 22, in 97, I moved to the United States. Lived here ever since, first in Brooklyn, like every Russian Jew, and then I moved to New Jersey about 14 years ago. And that's pretty much it in terms of like what I've been doing. I graduated in South Africa, marketing and business management, and didn't like it. That was the only thing that was kind of like, I like the name marketing and business management. That's the only reason why I decided to take it, but absolutely zero interest whatsoever. Well, at least back in the day. Trained different sports my whole life. Was really fascinated by it. Then still while living in South Africa, I was helping a couple of people just get in shape. You know, I'm a typical nerd, so I like to read a lot, especially when it comes to supplements, to nutrition. Then when I moved to United States, kind of got involved with the NPC. I was a judge for NPC, for National Physique Committee. I promoted a couple of shows. My wife was actually competing, and she was a state champion, national level bodybuilder and figure competitor. Then opportunity came, and Apollon Gym, which is a place where I used to run my personal training business from, because of a few bad decisions that the previous owner made. He was forced to sell it, and because I expressed interest always to own the gym, he sold it to me. At that time, the gym was a failing business, even though it was very popular. But it was a failing gym with only about 160 members. Bought the gym, pretty much lived there the entire time because I couldn't afford any salaries. So 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., I was pretty much there all the time. Within a couple of years, we grew to a certain degree. We were at about 350 to 400 members, which is for a small gym is not too bad, but it's nothing crazy either. And we were pretty much stuck at that number for a while. Considering that I was helping athletes pretty much all over the world getting ready for shows, and involved obviously with supplements. I actually retired from training people in 2009, and also from judging competitions altogether. And I was mostly focusing on growing Apollon Gym as much as I could. So I was done with that aspect because I was sick and tired of, babysitting athletes. I mean, training them for a show, it's like literally like babysitting. Plus, on top of it, nobody could ever pay on time, and you have to chase people to get paid. It was just such a headache. And so I decided to stop that and just concentrated on a gym altogether. And in 2015, a friend of mine actually suggested, because we used to buy supplements for the gym. We have like a small supplement store, and we still do, shakes, and we were kind of popular for that in the area. But the cost of protein was climbing all the time. It was actually crazy. So I was introduced to Mark Glazier from NutraBio, and we discussed, for him to manufacture just a few units for the gym, so we could just make shakes and sell pre-workouts by the scoop. So we met. He actually, like I said, I always say thank you to him for that, because he kind of helped me, get moving, get started. So we did 4 flavors for protein. We did 2 flavors for pre-workout, just to sell at the gym. The popularity in the area kind of started growing, and people started stopping by and asking for more and more. So at that point, Apollon Nutrition was just a name. It was not even a registered business. It was basically just part of Apollon Gym. Then within, I think, like a year or two, the volume started growing. I started adding more to the line. And I think like within 2 years, we started selling on our website and made Apollon Nutrition an official business. And then from that point on, again, thanks to TJ, thanks to Review Brothers, we got a lot of exposure and a lot of love from them, while pretty much everybody within the industry was hating on us like nonstop. And I remember when we came out with the first Hooligan, which I posted the label actually a few weeks ago, everybody was saying that 450 milligram of caffeine is absolutely ridiculous. It's stupid. And I mean, I was called all kind of names, and, it kind of stuck to it. And while everybody was criticizing us, TJ and Review Brothers and, the very loyal followers of the brand, it just kept spreading, and it started growing little by little. We started doing better labels. We started adding a little bit more to the brand. And, I'm actually, even when I had a conversation with TJ a few days ago, and he said that we have a certain standard that people expect from us, certain things that we cannot dip below. So even the isolate that we've been working on, I remember I sent TJ an isolate a couple of months ago, and I remember what he said. He said, it's good, but this is not Apollon. And it kind of stuck with me, because on one hand, it's basically criticism. On the other hand, it's actual compliment. So I was like, you know what? He makes a valid point. So, it just showed that the brand grew quite a bit. And I am obviously very, very proud of it. So that brings us basically...
Tell them why you are still wanted in fucking Israel, you convict.
Yeah, so the thing is that wanted in Israel. I like that.
You are, man. No? Did you get the are you forgiven? No.
Yeah.
Is your ass forgiven?
I actually, you know what? I actually got in touch. So to go back on the story about Israel, I left Israel at the age of 16. It's basically when people already kind of like called to go to the army, and you have to like submit for checkups and stuff like that.
You
start the process. But at that point, my parents, more specifically my stepdad, we had certain financial difficulties, and he got offered a job in South Africa. So when we moved to South Africa, apparently that was a problem, because you have to get a special permission from the Israeli army, which I never kind of obtained. So that was a problem with that. So going back to Israel, there would be probably consequences with that. You would be punished, so to speak. So right now, actually going through the process to make sure that it's actually sorted out. But I actually got a letter from them a couple of weeks ago saying that it's really not an issue. Actually, what you said before, that it's basically nothing.
You're too old. Nobody wants you.
Nobody wants me right now.
Yeah, you're a end of sale product. You're done. You're expired.
I expired.
We'll see him on Fuego soon.
So in terms of the company right now, the gym is at about 1,500 members. But I think
amazing, by the way, because it's not a big gym. Like
it's not a big gym. I honestly think
it's a huge amount. I wonder how it looks like if everybody comes.
You see, that's the thing that the mostly, we never had a problem with like people coming to the gym. We had a problem with parking, because if you remember the parking,
there's no parking. Also,
there is no parking. The parking is very, very limited, so we're forced to use parking from another site. I think that, you see, the funny thing is that as much as popular as Apollon is, it was always in the top 10 hardcore gym. The problem is that people were intimidated. It had that reputation for a meathead gym, hardcore gym, and we didn't even have women. We probably had like maybe 10 women as members of the gym. People would not be very comfortable coming to Apollon because obviously, the type of people that train there, big guys, fighters, power lifters, and the environment can look a little bit intimidating, even though we have a pretty good crew. But I think what happened is the Apollon nutrition, the fact that people would stop by and buy product, and we would give them like a free pass. You can go work out if you want. So they will check. They will take a free workout, and all of a sudden, they would come back again and again and again. Let me sign up. So between 2015, well, I bought it in 2008. Between 2008, 160 members to 2015. We managed at the most, I think the very most was 420 members. That's it. Despite the popularity, despite everything, between 2015 to now, I actually think we're not at 1,500. I believe we're at 1,800, if I'm not mistaken. So the brand definitely created a lot of hype. And I think it made the gym a lot more popular. In fact, I was thinking, I remember a few years ago that, running a gym is not, especially a hardcore gym, smaller gym, it's not really exactly very profitable business. You'll make a good living, but it's not something like, where you have 20 or 30,000 members like at fitness clubs or anything like that. It's a nice, modest living at the most. So I was considering, selling it. I was really, really considering selling the gym, but the connection between the gym and the nutrition is so strong. It's like became like one brand basically, that it's like basically like separating twins. You just can't, So the decision was made to keep the gym as is. And in fact, right now, while a lot of gyms are going out of business because we're under a lockdown, Apollon Gym is doing, we're not doing okay because obviously we can't operate, but because Apollon Nutrition office is out of Apollon Gym, Apollon Nutrition is growing in popularity and growing in numbers and everything else. So we've been able to cover rent for the gym and everything else, absolutely no problem. And as a result, I think that the gym not only will survive, but actually we're trying to use the opportunity and to make it better. So we're investing right now in putting up TVs all around the gym. We're putting up new sound system, microphones. I'm actually ordering right now also a couple of machines for the gym. We're painting it. So we're trying to make sure when we reopen that it's a completely different feel and a different environment. So, during the times where some people selling and struggling, I'm not saying we're not struggling because obviously there is no income in the gym, but at the same time just trying to make it better. And it basically shows that nutrition and the gym are so connected to each other that selling one without the other is completely ridiculous. So it's going to keep on going the way it is. That's pretty much
members,
it.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, have many of the members retained their memberships, or are a lot of them canceling it?
You know what? When the whole thing started, we obviously told people, if they want to cancel membership, of course, that's not an issue at all because the gym is closed. And also, don't forget that the time when the lockdown started, we were told that it's going to be 2 weeks. That's it. Then 2 weeks turned into a month turned into 2. So even right now, I don't know, we might be opening in about 2 weeks. We might not open for months. I don't know. But there were a lot of people actually who called and reached out and made sure that we don't cancel their membership. It's just like, DJ's been there and Robert's been to Apollon. It's a very family-like environment.
Yeah. It looks like a family place. It doesn't feel commercial.
Yeah, it's whenever we need something at the gym, moving equipment, doing something, painting, it's always done with us and actually with the members of the gym because they really genuinely care about it. Yeah, a lot of members, are still continue to pay for the membership. A membership is only $30, but nevertheless, when you lose a job and your business is not doing well or whatnot, $30 is still $30. But I can't be more grateful than I am already for what people have done for the gym. It's absolutely astonishing. We have actually one guy who is a member of the gym. he put brand new gates. When the riots and protests started, there was obviously a bit of a concern. So DJ saw where we keep, all the products in that separate location across the parking. It was very easy to break into, even though there is alarm. Right now, there are metal doors and everything else. It was installed by a member of the gym. He put new doors in the gym. Our AC, everything. I will show you.
Is it me or Robert?
No, not yet. I was looking at
Robert,
TJ's
you're
face.
Yeah, he every charge. Yeah,
Perfect.
Refused
Can you hear him? Because Robert is doing like this with his head. I'm trying.
I can hear something, but I don't think it's.
Robert has the face like he understands what's being said. What the fuck is that, Robert? Like, what do you understand there?
He said that a member of the gym was donating some of the stuff, including the door, and it sounded like they were getting some AC done. But I was also going to say that Jersey had a big storm wipe through, and half the state's still without power and internet and all that. So Robbie's working off of a jam signal right now.
My internet is back. I'm good. I was good as of last
Not
night.
fully back, baby.
We lost about the last 30 seconds of what you said, Robbie.
How is it now? Can you hear me now?
Okay, now. Okay.
It was up until they installed the middle gates, I think, or the middle something around there.
Yeah, so basically, he just donated a bunch of stuff to the gym and did all the renovations, with his own time, his own money, and refused to take a dime.
Awesome. Robbie, with so you jump into buying the gym, and you experience, every business owner is going to experience some struggles in the early days, and then you go and start up Apollon Nutrition. What mistakes, if any, did you make when first getting the gym up and running under your own ownership? Did you learn from and were able to parlay that into avoiding certain mistakes with running Apollon Nutrition? Or was it translatable at all, or is it two different entities entirely?
The only, I think, mistake that I would consider was a mistake, at least I thought so, about buying Apollon Gym, was actually buying Apollon Gym. It was a dying gym, and I was like, 2 weeks after I bought it, I was like, what the fuck did I do? What did I get myself into? Other than that, I don't think I've made a lot of mistakes with the gym. I definitely made a lot of mistakes with nutrition initially by not paying attention to such things as marketing, by not paying attention to such things as labels. They were absolutely atrocious. So like small bits and pieces, definitely.
And you came out with the first version of Hooligan several years back, and you launched with 450 milligrams caffeine. At that time, the most we had seen was 300, maybe 400 in Hyde, Mr. Hyde from ProSups.
Yeah.
5150 also. Yeah. But that was like insanity, right? People saw 400 and they thought they were going to die.
Right. So what made you choose that 450? I mean, is it just something that you wanted to come out and be hardcore? Or did you like the research behind higher doses of caffeine? What, I guess, made you pull the trigger on that number?
Well, number one, I didn't have, I'll be lying if I said that I had the research, because the thing is that, I didn't have as much research as we know about it now, about caffeine and everything. What I do
No.
Everything. Can you hear me?
Sell the gym, buy some internet, Robert.
I think it's the room or the mascots.
I think you got a potato router or something.
I think that just seeing people double scooping on every pre-workout that we used to sell made me realize that at least our crowd is not happy with what's on the market. Mm-hmm. So it was mostly supply demand, or demand supply in this case.
Gotcha.
Because I remember I did the product specifically for Apollon Gym.
Mm-hmm.
Robbie, I wanted to ask you a question. As far as the formulations, what inspires you when you are making like formulas?
Right now it's actually pretty easy because basically right now I'm basing everything on what we already have. So if, for example, I'm coming up with a new formula of Hooligan, is the whole concept is to take what you have right now and making it better. But also don't forget, right now I have more experience, more research behind it, and somebody like Robert, who I can always consult with and ask for his opinion. So it's actually very, very easy. But I always target our followers and people that are buying our products. I'm not trying to step on anyone else territory. I'm not trying to make a product that, a soft product or a product for women or a product that will target different markets. I'm just trying to stay core to what we are doing, and in relation to that, just stick to it. I'm not trying to be like most other brands that are trying to cater to everybody. I don't think it's possible. And then if I'm going to create a different version of a hooligan, there's going to be, I don't know, hooligan light or something. To me, that's going to be ridiculous. I think it makes no sense.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm going to rewind back to when you were a judge for the physique circuit, Robbie. With a subjective sport like that, and we hear about it every time the Olympics comes around, whether it's like gymnastics or what's the other sport that I'm thinking of? Gymnastics, ice skating, figure skating, all of that stuff. As a judge, how much do politics and being one of the good old boys in the network actually play into the judging of these competitions?
Well, that was actually part of the reason why I left. I was judging one event in 2005, and I remember one bodybuilder who was a pretty good bodybuilder, well known actually. If you follow bodybuilding, you know about him. His name is Vinny Galanti, who is a very well-known, well-respected bodybuilder. Me and him initially did not get along. And but you know me, I'm very, very fair, and I can put business and personal aside. And I was judging him, and I remember he came on stage, and to me, it was pretty clear that he won the show. There was just nobody like him. He was not one. So he came off the stage, and now
Now he's gone completely.
Better?
No, he's back. He's back.
There we go.
All right. So I was judging him, and to me, it was clear that Vinny Galanti won the show. After prejudging, it's pretty much done because the next show is just for entertainment. That's it. So after prejudging, I had an event that I had to go to, and he caught up with me in the lobby, and he asked me how did I do, and I said to him, it's pretty obvious you won.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And I left. So I didn't know anything about the show until Sunday. I got a message from him that he was very upset with me. He placed second. And he said to me that I gave him a second place, even though I said first. What I found out is that my score after I left was changed by somebody else, by the head judge. So politics do play a huge part. It's who you know, who you're sponsored by, who is your coach. Unfortunately, it's just a fact in bodybuilding. This is not a fight sport where people punch each other in the face and somebody wins. In this sport, anything can happen.
Gotcha. Well put. Any other questions from the panel before we move to the main event for this podcast?
Well, congratulations, Rob.
Yeah.
Really
And
nice work.
I really hope you'll get like some good internet in the future. Like some kick-ass internet with 700 milligrams of bandwidth.
All right, gentlemen, for today's main topic, let's discuss the future of trade shows.
Boom.
Oh,
Shit.
Oh, damn.
Let's go with that. Let's discuss the future of trade shows. We've got the Stack3d Virtual Expo coming up. We know that the Arnold was canceled, at the 11th hour of this week, of this year. The Olympia has been canceled, or pushed back to December. And Phil Heath, I think, just announced that he's going to be competing. But I doubt the actual Supplement Expo will happen. FIBO was canceled. So it's and there was the way the Arnold was handled with the cancellations left a really bad taste both in the mouths of consumers and the brand owners, especially. They got screwed for all the money that they lost. Or I guess the Arnold committee came back and allowed them to put it towards like a deposit for next year. But really, they kind of shit the bed on the whole fiasco with it. So I guess Lukasz, let's start with you, and we'll get the European flair on it, and we'll see. What do you expect with the trade shows going forward? Are they necessary? Are they useful? What do you look at it as?
You know what? I think it's pretty cool to have this interaction between the brands and the customers and and everything. I think the trade shows are the opportunity not only for the customers but also for the brands and for the distributors to just show itself, and have this interaction and try to build this relationship between the customer, the brand, and everything. So that's the best part. As far as interaction between the athletes and the social media aspect, I think that's the additional thing. But from my perspective, what I can tell is that definitely it's a cool concept. I personally love the trade shows. I try to participate in basically everything that's going on here in Europe. As you probably know, the Body Power was first postponed and then it got cancelled. Same with FIBO. As far as FIBO, we had high hopes as far as that the show will appear this year, but they said that it will be only for the exhibitors, not for public. So
Industry.
after that, everyone said, "Oh, fuck that. We're not gonna take part in it." So yeah, it got also postponed for next year. I think it's a good decision on their part. So yeah, FIBO is probably one of the best shows, or I can even say probably the biggest. The biggest, that's for sure. The best, I think, also, yeah, definitely. If you've never been to FIBO, you gotta come, because this is like a whole nother experience. I remember when Shane come to the first one. It was like 2-3 years ago, Shane, something like that.
Oh man,
right?
I think it was more like 4.
Yeah,
It
time
was
flies.
a while. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, time flies, man. And I remember I remember his face when he saw the only one hole, and he said, "Damn, man, it's only like one hole." I'm like, "No, man, it's like 12 holes." So yeah, so it's completely different.
You took me through the shortcut the first day, and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's just another." And then it wasn't until like the second day, and you left early because you fucking wake up at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I was like trying to figure out how to get in, and I ended up going the long way around. And then I actually ended up having to see everything forcefully, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
I had trouble getting there, but yeah, I got there.
Yeah.
Lukasz, what do you like about the shows? Like what like not as a participant, just as a visitor? Like,
from my perspective, interaction with my customers and with my basically partners that I'm handling business with, nowadays it's more like interaction via phone and via emails. But when you have this personal interaction between customer and a partner,
yeah, that's it.
Get cut.
Oh no!
Totally ran out of internet.
Oh no! Oh no, he's back. He's back.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's changing rooms.
He's finding the disconnection.
Yeah, it's like, I guess it's still fucked up here.
Yeah, so TJ, responding to your question, I think the interaction, the personal interaction, I think, in my opinion, that's the most crucial thing for me personally, But when I wasn't with Prometeus and I was visiting the shows, I always wanted to just go to each booth and just see what's going on, just basically saying. I always loved, seeing new stuff, what brands was coming with, and those kind of things. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, it's the experience. Like it's kind of like watching a sporting event on TV as opposed to being there, or watching fireworks on TV as opposed to like being at the stadium or field. but it's only like $20 to get in, kind of thing.
Do you think it's going to continue? Do you think it's going to continue to draw massive amounts of people, or do you think this year, because everything got canceled, we'll see a significant dip in attendance next year, or will there be such a fervor for everybody not getting to go this year that it'll be even more packed?
You know what? I think the 2021 is going to be packed.
Yeah. I don't know, though. I feel like it's going to be like, kind of like how some businesses were kind of being, I guess, they were on the brink of being pushed out now due to COVID. I reckon that next year, the expos that were already doing well and just killing it will get better and will just explode. But then the ones that I guess were already on the way down a bit, probably just going to be extra down or extra shit. I just feel like it'll just speed things up.
Yeah. Well, give us a little bit of insight, Shane, into your experience of the trade shows, because you're the leading news source in the industry, so you've got to be basically bust and hump. And are you on the ground covering stories, or do you pretty much have an idea of which companies are going to be releasing stuff at the expo, and you have a little bit more relaxed time at the expos because you already know what's coming?
It's never relaxed at the expos. As much as but then again, I kind of like that. It's different though, because back in the day, like 5 years ago, at the Arnold and the Olympia, a lot of the US shows, you got new products, you got new announcements, you got people counting down, you got people hyping shit up. And then over the last few years, it's kind of stopped. Whereas that's not the case at FIBO or even Body Power, other shows, international shows. They still, if not, they release more, they announce more, they take advantage of the situation like you should. And you've got all these people here, and some people or some brands aren't really even bothered about the attendance. They're just going to go ahead and make a huge deal about something at the show. Again, FIBO is a prime example. I'll never know what the hell they're bringing, because a lot of them I don't have direct communication to. A lot of them, English is also not their first language, and they some of them will bring like 10 products. Some bring like a whole series. Some drop, new collaborations. It's like a lot of those shows outside of the US, again, take full advantage, like other industries, really. That they'll have big tech shows and they'll be announcing a new game or big, the next generation console and stuff like that. They'll take advantage of it. But I haven't really seen too much of that in the US. But yeah, it's usually me on the ground stopping by and talking to every single one, because they're not going to tell me. They want to give me the heads up on what they're bringing. So,
have you ever been to E3 or any of the big gaming expos? And if so, how do you think the supplement industry trade shows compare to the gaming trade shows?
I've never been to one. I've been to a Comic-Con. I've been to a couple. I feel like the Arnold compares to that one a bit. Not so much in the. Obviously Comic-Con and stuff like that, they have the big seminars and the big like the rooms and all the performances and stuff. And some of those other events, you get the movie trailers. But at the Arnold, you don't really get any of that. So
yeah,
I guess compared to the Expo, it's about similar. Obviously, not as big of a scale. The Olympia, though, I wouldn't really compare to any of those other shows. But FIBO, it's the biggest expo event. Again, like Lukasz said, the shit's on another level.
I've got to get over there and trot and see it one of these days. I've got.
The thing is like Lukasz said, it's not just one industry. It is the fitness industry, but again, if you can imagine the Olympia at its peak, that's what FIBO has been like every year. But I'm talking 2 stories, and then you have like a fitness, a health and wellness hall, same size as supplements. Then you have like a gym technology hall and a same size as supplement, and then a apparel. I've never been into the others. I've seen them and I've thought about walking in, but then there's no point because I'm just going to get lost or going to waste hours of my day. But if you're a fan, you would have to go all 3-4 days if you really, really wanted to see everything.
TJ, what about you? Fate of the trade show industry and your experiences when you go to them.
Yeah. So I've been in the US mostly in the trade shows, Arnold's and the Olympia, and so I think it's gonna stay because people like that personal interaction, like Lukasz said, and the opportunity to meet their superstars, and I think specifically in the fitness industry, and like Comic-Con maybe relates to that, same-minded people. I think people want to be around what they would consider same-minded people, right? Mm-hmm. Like in your day-to-day, I'll give you an example. I go to a lot of tech shows and tech events. So I don't think anyone goes there in order to be next to same-minded people, because it's not it's not a thing. Actually, in your day-to-day work, you're around same-minded people most of the time. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so if you're in tech, you're in tech. And the average Joe that goes to a fitness event is probably not working in fitness. He's whatever. I don't know what it is. Yeah. And he goes there and suddenly, you see, I like it to see in the Olympia and Arnold's people standing in line, eating their every 3 hours packaged meals. It's so retarded, by the way. But, like the supplements and all that thing. And I think people just like to be around like what they would think is similar-minded people, mm-hmm. and just feeling. I think fitness has this thing, like other areas, but specifically with these exhibitions, is that I'm around people like me. They get me here, right? And so I think that's why I don't think it's gonna stop. People are gonna go. Now there's different, there's a whole different. Math behind, is it worthwhile to present, not worthwhile to present, what does it give, should you be spending $100,000 on presence at the Olympia, altogether as a package, or should you take $100,000 and spend it on digital marketing and do some Facebook ads and some other shit? I'm not going to go into that. I think that it really depends on where you are in your journey as a brand, and is it worthwhile or not. And maybe some math behind this, but I think just generally speaking, it will continue because people need, in the fitness industry specifically, they need that. Now, does it really matter? Like if I'm a supplement company, how much does it really help the brand? I don't think, honestly, by itself, I don't think it does a lot. I remember, was it the Arnold's 2 years ago? Because I wasn't in the last one, I was busy. But the year before, I think, there was the company, Midway Supplements, whoever they are. I've never heard about them. They had a booth, like they owned half of the floor on the fucking Arnold. That shit was so big. Yeah. It was humongous. And there were people, and there were sponsoring. I don't know.
Was it the Olympia or was it the Arnold?
I think it was the Arnold, because I haven't been to the Olympia in a while. So
I remember they were at the Olympia.
Maybe they were also at the Olympia, baby. But I'm telling you, at the Arnold, they had half the freaking floor. And that thing, just math based on what I would see, travel plus lodging plus food plus everything, that's probably a 250, 300K exercise. Just based on the amount of people they had there, plus the size of the booth they had there, plus travel. I don't know where they come from. I don't know even where they are. Who are they? They're American.
I still don't know who they are.
Okay. So that is stupid. That by itself as an event, throwing whatever it is, let's say even 200K on presence like that, it's not going to do shit. Right. It's not going to do shit. The people are going to go through your booth, maybe remember the name. They're probably not going to see it again for the next, 10 years. So that is stupid. That's not where you start. I don't think you start your marketing journey with presence at these shows. I don't think it does anything unless you want to do some surveys and talk with your potential customers about what they like. But there's also cheaper ways to do that. But I think for the audience will always stand. It always makes me laugh, right? When people stand in line for 10 hours for a free Bang energy drink. Yep. So fuck, I don't give a shit what you do for a living. You make more than $2 an hour to stand an hour for a fucking free Bang energy drink. You see these long
the sample horse.
It's crazy. It's insane. It's insanity. It's what people
I do like my free samples.
What's that?
I do like myself free samples.
It's so I never got the math of standing in line for 2 hours or an hour for a bank. I just don't get it. It's free samples, yeah, great, awesome.
No, you don't need to stand in line. You just stand in the crowd and then they throw them after you.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, Shane, do you have like a press pass, or like, I mean, do you just walk up to a booth and you say, "Hey, I'm Stack3d," and you don't have to wait in line? You can just grab what you need to.
Look, man, I have never done that. Like, I mean, I have the record of every year for, what was it, 7 years, 6 years, maybe 6 years. I asked the Olympia for a press pass. It's like, hey, how do I get a press pass? And I asked them year after year after year.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, what do you do? And I said, I'm just interested in, helping out, hyping the supplement brands at the expo. Yeah. I do not give 1 inch of a shit about the bodybuilding. I mean, I didn't say it like that, but like I said, I don't need access to any bodybuilders, anything. And they said, oh, do you have it? This was the first year, was like, do you run a magazine? And I was like, no, I do not. And then they gave me the form to fill out. Every year they gave me the same form to fill out. And it was just like, which magazine did you want? Do you work for? Which, do you have a website? Was like a secondary question. And then it was, what events and bodybuilding classes do you want to take photos of? And I said, I told you I don't want any of this. And they were just like, no, but you still need to fill this one out just because everyone's roped into the same thing. Yeah. And every year I filled it out, and every year I was rejected. So I was like, God damn it. So, I mean, I never, and the press pass for some of the events that I got, like I would go in the morning and I'd be like, oh, hey, just to take pictures, get in before the crowd. And they said, oh, you have to wait until the VIPs have been in for like half an hour. And I was like, what in the flaming shit is this press pass good for? Like, so literally, I just ask any brands, any friends, be like, hey, can you get me in with you? Because you get way more access than any press pass I've had. And yeah, that's pretty much how I roll in. And there's always someone at one show, whether it be FIBO, Body Power, Arnold, Olympia. There's at least one person I know, and that's all I need. But when I approach new brands, I never say, like, hey, have you heard of Stacked? I'm just like, oh, hey, I share like supplement news. I don't mention my name until I give them a card. And then sometimes they'll be like, oh, shit, why the fuck didn't you say so? Sometimes they'll just be like, it's just, because again, in FIBO, some brands won't fucking care about me, even if they've heard about me. And I've spoken to so many guys, and where English is clearly not their language, and I'm like, I'm not going to rail on because this guy's looking at me like, "The fuck are you?" So I just sort of tell him I share news. If you have any news, send it over. It's my email.
TJ, what's your purpose when you go to what mindset do you take when you go to these fitness expos? Because Lukasz obviously as a distributor can bring in new brands to his network. Shane is covering it from a new product stand release point. You are kind of like the free agent review guy, and you hunt deals. So you're not necessarily affiliating yourself with a brand, but sometimes you do. Sometimes you'll help a brand clear out stock or run a deal or something like that and help them. So what kind of mindset do you approach when you go to these trade shows?
No, I visit them just as a visitor, to be honest. Like I don't try. I mean, I meet people I know. It's just like Lukasz said. I just see a lot of people I know from the brands and from the industry, and I just like to feel the vibe of the industry, right? Like I want to understand what's going on. What do people think? I like to see which lines are the longest. I want to understand why are they the longest. I want to see which celebrities are the ones that are most popular. I want to understand why. I'm not an engineer like you, Robert, but I try to reverse. I try to reverse. My kids hate me for that. My wife totally hates me for that. I try to reverse fucking everything, like reverse engineer everything. Everything I try to reverse engineer. I see something working. I want to understand what's making it work. Maybe I'll make use of it in the future. Maybe not. So I want to. If I'm in the fitness industry and we're doing stuff in the fitness industry, I want to reverse engineer why things work. So and what the shows are a great place to understand what works. what's appealing, what's not, which brands are hot and why not, which people are like influencers, right? Which ones are people more attracted to or not, right? How the setups of the booths, which ones are nice, which ones are not.
Yeah.
And I can tell you just historically, I've taken ideas that I've seen in fitness and applied them in tech, and I've done the other way around. Not exactly the same thing, obviously, but the same mindset. If something works here, I want to understand why it's working here. I had this conversation with Shane a few weeks ago about something that I'm playing, an idea I'm playing with, because it's tech, it's fitness. I think things work together. So anyways, I go as a visitor. I'm not trying. Our business, like what we do in the fitness stuff, is totally unrelated to anyone. So we don't need to like shake hands really, except friendships. So
Gotcha.
So you do get the free bang.
I buy my bang. I have this thing, like my kids make fun of me, like everything with, like, my wife would say, hey, can you help me with the garden outside? I say, no, hire someone. There's no way you're going to pay someone more than I make in that next hour. So I'm not going to spend my time doing this shit.
That's literally my approach. Yeah.
Nothing. So if unless I'm at that point that $2 an hour is what I make, then I'll stand in line for an hour for a bank. No, I don't stand in line for shit. By the way, even if I go to a restaurant, there's a line of more than 5 people, fuck it. There's nothing worth time. Time is the most expensive thing I own right now.
Yeah, I've got that same mindset. I'm not just going to waste time. I've got more important shit to do than just sit around or do like cutting our grass. We decided when we were living in Louisiana, it would take me an hour and a half to cut the grass.
Fuck
And I'll pay somebody to do that. I grew up doing it and all that. I just let somebody else do it. I make more per hour engineering salary than wasting time doing that, getting all hot, sweaty, and nasty.
You know, it's like in with money, right? People say, hey, what do you do with money? I say, hey, listen, if I put that money to work, I'll make more money by letting it sit, right? So it's the same thing. If it's more than break even for that same hour of work, fuck it. Let someone else do it and provide a living for someone. I'm not gonna do shit unless I like it. Unless I like it.
Doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robbie, is your internet up running good enough for you to give us an answer on what your opinion of the trade shows is? Do you ever see Apollon participating, and what's your mindset when you go?
Participating, yeah, Robert. Let's see if.
The internet absolutely sucks, but if anything, I'll switch to the phone. The thing is I think what Shane said, the fact that he doesn't get a press pass, I think because it's like, so for example, Olympia is all about Olympia. It's all about the bodybuilding and stuff like that, while FIBO is about the industry, about the supplement industry, and just, fitness industry in general. I think they're completely two different things. So I think, like, people that are running bodybuilding at the Olympia, they get paid by supplement companies, to participate there, and that's how they generate cash. But I don't give a fuck about anything. They don't even give a fuck about press either, because it's such a monopoly that it's a completely different ball game. Do they bring anything to the table? I don't think they bring shit to the table, because the thing is like, and TG is absolutely right. Companies are spending shitload of money to be at the Olympia. And when I find out, Ultimate Nutrition, if I believe correctly, spent $200,000 on having a booth as a title sponsor a couple of years ago. In fact, they were the title sponsor of the Olympia and the Olympia Expo. And they spent, I believe, close to $500,000 on sponsorship.
They were the title sponsor, if I'm not mistaken, three
times at least.
I think it might have been more. I just remember because on this third or fourth one, they on their Instagram, that was something they highlighted. They said, for the so-and-so time running, we are the title sponsor. And
exactly.
But
think about it. They did $500,000 in Olympia on sponsorship for 3 or 4 years, whatever the fuck that number is, maybe even 5. And they had Dexter Jackson and Phil Heath. Both of them were getting over $200,000 in sponsorship for a year. Now you have $1 million basically pissing the fuck away. That brings you absolutely nothing in terms of nothing in terms of money. It brings you nothing. You get absolutely nothing. No return on your investment whatsoever. Now imagine putting $1 million into fucking Facebook, and then getting Stack3d behind you. I don't know, Fitness Informant, and even fucking Price Plow. I mean, the amount of money that Hey, TJ, you okay? The amount of money that you can generate is a lot more. Those things are completely useless. People go to the Olympia to hang out with bodybuilders, take pictures, get a bunch of free samples, and absolutely nothing else. I remember, this is funny, about 3 years ago, NutraBio had the last time that they were sponsoring, they had a booth at the Olympia. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they paid close to 100,000. I could be wrong, but I know it was somewhere around 70, 80,000.
Probably all in costs, right? I don't think the booths themselves are not that expensive. The problem is
No. At the Olympia, the booth actually depends on the location. So so if it's centrally located, you can spend 100,000 easily. But also don't forget that you have to fly all your crew. You have to pay for it. You have so the cost is through the roof.
Giveaways.
But now the funny thing is that they were in the center actually of the Olympia Expo, and I remember Mark actually complained about it. So they, the center of the Olympia Expo, paid shitload of money to have they had a nice decent booth, but right next to them there was Bang booth, which was 10 times the fucking size, with elevated platform and fucking naked girls dancing and throwing away free shit. All of a sudden, NutraBio is not even fucking visible because people are standing on top of NutraBio booth just to take a look at the naked girl dancing and get a free T-shirt from Bang. So all that fucking money, 100,000 or whatever the fuck it was, is completely a waste.
Are there no free teas?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So the thing is that I like to go there and actually hang out with friends, meet people. But in terms of I think productivity for a brand and an investment, I mean, think about it. You basically advertise on Stack3d, right? So on Stack3d, you can be visible all around the world by people that are actually interested in what you do and interested in your industry. At the Olympia Expo, you have a bunch of hillbillies running around, fucking getting free shit, and then trying to get a picture with a naked girl, and that's it. And then Shane is passing by and goes like, "Hey, I'm Shane from Stack3d. Hey, Shane, go fuck yourself. I don't care who you are because I'm looking for Ronnie Coleman." That's a fact. That's a fucking reality. Nobody cares. And then Lukasz comes with a bottle of something from Poland. "Look, I have a nice present for you." Who the fuck are you? Nobody knows each other. Nobody gives a shit. Everybody wants a picture so they can put it on Instagram with some naked chick or a guy that they fucking masturbating in the bathroom to. And they like, "Okay, cool. You know what? I made it." I'm like, "What the fuck is in this drink?"
Wow.
But it's the truth.
No, it's 100%.
That took a hard turn.
Sounds like you were drinking whatever I was drinking.
Apparently, double too. But the thing is that those expos, like you said about the brand at the Arnold Classic, what the fuck? Look at MFit. MFit does not fucking exist. And they were fucking buying Olympia booth right in the center, and they were putting up a lot of money for it. And they had Guy Sisternino, and they had fucking, what's his name? Another guy. So they had
with them, right?
But the thing is, it brings nothing to the table, absolutely nothing, unless you have money to piss away and you want to make a statement. But then again, it doesn't sell your brand. It doesn't do shit. Because look at people walking around Olympia Expo. They have shitload of free bags and shitload of free fucking samples that they're probably not even going to use. You can't sell shit because nobody's going to buy anything from you. Can you imagine somebody buying a 5-pound container and taking it on a plane with him that's going to take half of his fucking luggage? It's completely unnecessary. So at the end of the day, I think that FIBO, yes, I've been to FIBO. It's beautiful. There are no shows. The star of FIBO is actually the supplement industry. The star of Olympia is actually Olympia, the contest, and juice heads are fucking coming just to watch the show. And that's it. And walking around the expo to take pictures and get free shit. That's it.
Well, I'll tell you something, just from a marketing perspective. I think, like I said, there's ways to approach this. You don't start there. And in the new age, I think people are stuck 15 years ago to Shane's. Let's take Shane's example. Which magazine do you have, right? That's like the 15 years ago question. It's like in my, I remember like in tech, we have a solution that is totally cloud-based, right? So it's a software in the cloud. And someone called customer support, and customer support asking, "What's your hardware number?" And he said, "What the fuck are you talking about? It's a cloud service. I don't have a hardware. Okay, I can't help you." Right? So same thing with the magazine, and same thing with this thing. It's stuck from 15 years ago, or 10 years ago, or even, you know what, as recent as maybe 7 years ago, when these things were really, you said, okay, I have to be there because that's where I'm going to get mass, I'm going to get exposure, I'm going to get this. Today, there's just so many more efficient ways. Now, if you have a big ass budget, and part of your budget wants to get in front of your audience, get people in front of your athletes, talk with some of your audience, and you have some plan to sell some product and maybe cover some of your cost, and you're looking at it as a branding exercise. Even when you do advertising campaigns, sometimes you spend money on branding, just branding. It's not selling anything. So that specific initiative doesn't have a return on investment. Like, hey, I put the ad, someone's bought on the other side. No, I increased my brand awareness. So as a brand awareness exercise, maybe, but really it should be at the tail end of your budget, because you can get exposed to way more people with your message in a way more isolated environment, strangely enough, with an ad online. Rather, I have them watch a video of 30 seconds of what the brand is about, or some cool ass thing, or visit your website and see the video there, rather than with all this noise, just like you said, Robbie, right? With all this noise, with all this like packages and shit that you need to carry. It's old fashioned. I think it's still going to happen because people are very, it takes time to kill old habits. It just takes time. People are so afraid. There's again, I don't know in the fitness world, but I can tell you in other areas, there's always this debate in tech. For example, we're not going to do this show next year. It's just a waste of money. We're not generating any business. We're not going to go. And then comes the show, and you say, "Are you sure we're not going to do it?" Because people are going to say, "What? Are we out of business? Why are we not here? What's going to happen?" And then people but you see people are shrinking, and they're just doing presence maybe that is less apparent. I don't think it's going to last for a very, very long time. The online virtual world is gonna kill it, but at some point. But it still has some leeway, right? It's just because it is. And I do think, I don't know, next year, I think you guys are very optimistic about next year with the Corona shit. I don't know how early next year will people actually have big events. I think it's going to take some time, but let's say maybe second half of next year, or maybe end of next year, people will feel more comfortable to do big events. I think it's going to be actually a big year, like I think all of you said, because people are going to be so hungry. They just want to travel. They just want to be among, like Robbie called them, similar meatheads and juice heads and all that stuff, and whatever they are. But long term, I wouldn't buy stock in an event, in a physical event business. Like, I just don't see, unless it's very unique, and I don't think this one is unique. Sporting competitions, though, that is always going to be big.
Right.
Like, people want to see live sports. But so I think that's always big. But even that changing now to TV. All of you guys saw NFL, right? Like the NFL games. Mm-hmm. Look at the stadiums. So many empty seats. It's insane.
College too.
College too. People sit at home. They have big ass screen TVs. They have it's very comfortable. They're with their friends. They don't need to sit in the sun. They don't need to sit in the. People are fucking spoiled this time, right? And so you see that in NFL, which used to be like, I could get so I live in Baltimore. When I moved here 11 years ago, to find an NFL ticket, right, to go to a game, minimum $200 to sit in a nosebleed, right, because it was always full. Last season, we went to 3 games. On average, I paid $20, and still the stadium wasn't full. And it was the Ravens. They were doing amazing. They were killing it. Killing it. So, but some of the games were like you could buy tickets for $20. So people are lazy. So I don't think it's going to last. The physical world will need to adapt. Yeah. But next year is going to be big. Then God knows.
Yeah. Shane, with the virtual expo, how do you judge its success? Because obviously with the Arnold or something like that, you can judge ticket sales and how many brands sign up, how many brands renew their lease or their booth or something. You get actual foot traffic, and so you have people buying tickets and buying Arnold merchandise and stuff like that. As an online expo, obviously you're not charging people $1 entry fee or a subscription fee. So how do you judge whether these online expos are successful and whether it's worthwhile to do each year?
I basically get feedback from people and brands. That's literally it. Like if they think, like a lot of people this year have already said it was, I guess it's really cool to bring together everything they've done, and just I gauge if they think it was worth it. I mean, every brand has a different goal. That's the thing. Like if I gauged how much someone sold, it wouldn't necessarily be an across the board thing, because some brands are just in the expo to announce something. Some brands are in there to give away. Some brands are in there to introduce themselves. Some brands haven't even launched. So it's hard to have an across the board measurement for this. So I just asked them, hey, what do you think? I mean, the goal for us was to do what I always thought the big supplement expos should do, and that's not give a shit about anything but the supplements. So, like for example, the reason we have a lot of announcements and exclusive releases and there are exclusive products launching at the show is because we offered big discount in exchange for that. I said you can save money as a brand by announcing something at the show, and we put a lot of emphasis on that because I wanted the whole week to be just like, check this shit out. And there is a lot of some cool shit that I've seen that people will be unveiling, announcing, launching. I mean, Core Nutritionals put together a damn tea and a special edition flavor of Fury and Pump for the show.
Sweet.
I didn't even know about the shirt. They just asked me for my logo and then said, oh yeah, we're putting on a shirt.
Badass, man. Inspire's
unveiling State of the Union. There's another big pre-workout that you'll just have to wait and see on Monday. A lot of European brands, Applied Nutrition.
Right, that pre-workout. It's gonna launch at the event.
What one was that?
The pre-workout that you can talk about. It's, I think, launching. No, I know what it is.
Yeah, I know you know what it is.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying that's literally launching at the expo, right?
They are. I know that they had it on there. I didn't know if they were going to have it because they were all very like time frame. They were like, if we can, we can. If we can't, we can't.
Okay.
So I know that it's like it's on there. I don't know if it's linked to the right place yet, but it's on there.
Okay. That's what I like about this event. It gets you this experience, but at the same time, it's super unique. So,
yeah. If you're a fan of supplements, you're going to want to go through each page because they're all there's something for everyone.
Yeah, it's crazy because when it comes to like the expos, the main thing for most of the companies that are participating in the show is that they want to generate sales and they basically want to show up, But as far as like the online thing, that's something more to it, You get this experience, but you can showcase yourself in so completely different ways, and that's what I always liked, and I always told Shane about it,
It's hard as well to bring together companies to get them to announce something or save something for the week. That was when we first did this in 2016 or 15, I think. Yeah, no one did it. I asked them to, but no one did it. Like, I think some would preview, but this time around, we're a little bit larger, so people are actually, they're putting an embargo on all social to leave it for the show. They're doing, they've put together exclusive renders and pictures, and as TJ mentioned, like launching products. So it's and it's really cool that they've been able to pull it all together. And I think there's like 48 brands. Apollon's also there, obviously.
Yeah,
those guys suck. Those guys suck.
I didn't want to have like too many. I mentioned this to everyone. I was like, you can't have, as much as I'd like to have 100, you really can't ask people to sit in front of their phone and scroll through 100 brands. It's just so. I mean, I think 50 is around the sweet spot. And yeah, it's you'll be there if you want to go through and read everything. You'll probably be there for about 30 minutes, maybe more. Obviously, some brands, if you don't want to see, they don't recognize them. But I would think, and there's giveaways, a shitload of giveaways. So I mean, it's packed out. It's about as packed out as much more packed out than the previous one, and so
you will still get your bank.
What's that?
You will still get your bank.
Oh, bank's not there, unfortunately. It's a little bit easier, I guess, to be at an expo center, throw out bank, as opposed to take someone's name and ship one can for free.
It's funny because I do believe that the technology and internet is definitely the future of the supplement industry in terms of publicity and marketing, etc. Because think about it, Robert actually asked me today earlier about mistakes that Apollon Nutrition I've made or I regret or something like that. So there's one mistake that I think that I would have made and would have probably regretted, and it has to do with the Olympia and Arnold Expo. When we released and we started to be a little bit bigger in terms of being a little bit more public and a little bit more known, my dream, my initial reaction was we have to be one day at the Olympia or the Arnold Classic to make a statement that, Apollon has arrived. It's been, I can't say 5 years, I would say officially about 3 years, but in 3 years, we haven't made it to the Olympia or the Arnold Classic. I was actually considering this last Arnold Classic. And I think, honestly, it would be a total waste of money. We are known without the Olympia. We are known without the Arnold Classic. And to spend even on average $20,000, $30,000, which would be a crappy booth, I think would be a complete waste of money. I think you can get exposure without Olympia and without the Arnold Classic. And I think, through social media, through advertising, through proper marketing channels, through Stack3d, which is obviously a premier channel for supplements. I think through those channels and while sitting at home, you can do a lot more, and you can probably, definitely save money and save the hassle and the headache that is associated with transporting the products, with bringing a fucking crew, with bringing athletes. Because let's face it, you go to a place like Olympia, nobody's going to approach your booth because you're Apollon Nutrition or you whatever. Nobody gives a shit. At the Olympia, people going to the Olympia, so they're going to want to see actually one bodybuilder. There's going to be a huge line to take pictures with him or to take his autograph. Okay, they're going to probably sample your drink or something like that, but that's not the reason why they go there. So in terms of publicizing your product and your brand, I don't think that there is any return on investment unless you are a $50 million company and you're just doing it for the hell of it, for the prestige of it, then maybe. But in terms of the company's or the brand growth, I think there is absolutely very little, if any, benefit, but it's pretty guaranteed that it's not going to be return on your investment. You're not going to do it. It's just not possible. I think that doing, if Shane's going to do something like Stack3d Expo on an annual basis, as long as obviously, it's worth it for him. Then for the brands, I think it's absolutely amazing. I think that's exactly what, and I don't have to plan a whole fucking weekend or a week around it. We just submit the information to him and boom, it's done. We can continue going on with business and running our companies rather than fucking flying somewhere, bringing our entire crew, putting all the entire company on hold. Completely unnecessary, completely waste of time.
Although, to be honest, I think it would be priceless to go to the Olympia, whether it be Vegas, and go up to Robbie at his booth and ask him for a free sample of Assassin. I think that would be priceless. I would love to do that. That would be worth the $50,000, I think, to be able to do that.
Probably fucking knock him out. What a fucking container of Assassin.
With my bang in hand, I would ask for a free sample.
I would pretend that. I would pretend. No, I would pretend I don't even.
Yeah.
No, I would pretend I don't even know Shane because he doesn't get a fucking free pass. So
or I would walk up and open my bag, open my my sample bag, and you just have to drop it in.
Samples?
Yeah.
Can I get a protein sample, Robbie?
I was like, hey, sample.
Samples? That's the general language. Samples?
Yeah, that's it.
Didn't you say that was like the one word you learned in German or something, Lukasz?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all they say. Samples.
Everyone knows this fucking word. Samples? Just people like fucking like retarded, you know. They are.
And FIBO is 4 days, so you
yeah. And the worst part is that they're like just like approaching you, opening a bag, and they're like samples.
Or they just take it. I've seen them walk up and just look at you, and then look at the samples and be like, okay, just take one or two.
I actually witnessed one of the booths. I think it was at the Olympia. Somebody comes and just grabs something, and the girl behind the booth says, $3. He goes like, it's not free? No, I don't need it. And just walks away. Yeah.
Wow. All right, guys. I think we drove that one into the dirt. Fair enough. Shane, this is the part where you get to I pass the baton to you, sir, and you lead.
I do. I saved up the stories this week. I don't know who to throw each one to though. It's a tricky one. So I'm gonna shoot. I'll start with Lukasz on this one. Lukasz is the functional guy. What did you think about RX bar? Their new layers. It's their new protein bar. It's a higher protein bar than their real food snack. It's basically called layers, and that's because there are 2 layers to it. Obviously, one side is whole food nutritional ingredients, and then the other is creamy peanut butter. So it's kind of same spin as the original RX bar, which I was never really a fan of, but it was one of the original real food bars. But now they've gone higher protein, same kind of recipe, different build, but yeah, I mean it's a big step up, I think, for them, because this would be the first time they've launched a bar that's not the RX bar. I mean, they've done the kids version, but this would be the first. And RX is a huge brand.
Personally, I'm not a fan of RX bar at all. I don't like the texture. I don't like the taste. I don't like any of the marketing, to be honest. To me, it's like it's super basic. Maybe for some like hippies, it's nice.
Some what?
For some hippies.
Oh, hippies.
The veggies, the vegans, those kind of guys. Yeah.
So much hate for one bar, Lukasz.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but as far as RX, I'm not a fan at all. And to be honest, I saw this one time. Probably Quest was doing it also. The 2 layers or something.
Yeah, they
also did this edition of their bar when they did like 2 layers, and it wasn't like
2 Quest bars thrown together though. That was the Smash bar for 7-Eleven.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is meant to be like a layer of, I guess, whole food and then a layer of creamy peanut butter. But would you try this one though? I mean, again, I think it's good that they got more protein and they're trying different things, because RX bar is a well-distributed company.
Yeah, I'm still sticking to my.
They were acquired. They're now owned by someone big. I can't remember who, but they were acquired for like $600 million.
God damn.
RX bar.
Oh yeah, they were acquired.
Oh yeah. They're. I know they're.
Ain't that much for egg whites? Fuck that.
And dates.
Egg whites.
No, it was very successful.
Okay, so Lukasz is a no-go. He won't try the new one because the first one left a bad taste in his mouth. Okay.
So
I think they're terrible. I mean, the only one even remotely palatable, because we tried a bunch of them several years back, and the dark chocolate sea salt is the only one that's even maybe worth trying. That, I mean, they're bad. I'm not a fan at all of them. Maybe I'll try it.
I saw some reviews. I saw some reviews on the webs and on the YouTube as well, like lately, about the RX bars, and all people are like not enjoying them at all. So nah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a fan, but I mean, again, there has to be something to them. I mean, they, like TJ said, sold for 600 mil.
It goes for all the granola eaters out there, and there's a lot of granola eaters that are under the perception that because something is natural, it's automatically healthy.
They're everywhere too.
I think that the most appealing thing about them is that they show the ingredients, and they're like super basic. I think that's why people are like enjoying them. But as far as like maybe because the ingredients profile is not that complicated, and the macros are pretty clean, maybe that's why. But as far as like bars, man, you can't compare them to, for example, barbells or.
No.
Fuck no.
I mean, I wish barbells was in the same amount of shells.
I'm not
as
wasting my
RX,
macros on those bitches. That's for sure.
Okay, so it's a no-go on the layers for Lukasz. Okay, the next one I got is for Robic. It's hard finding a story that would interest Robic. I mean, he's a unique guy. So this one I got is actually these guys reached out to me, and it's a relatively new brand. They launched in June. They're from Australia, and they wanted to put, I guess, kind of a better representation on like, not even a better representation, just some presence and culture and theme from the Asian kind of world into supplements. And they introduced, it's called Far East Alchemy. It's kind of fitting name. And they have a protein powder. And so the protein powder is very simple. It's a whey isolate. They even list the yield and how much exactly everything's in there. But the key on this one is the flavors. And I know Robic is a big fan of flavors. And so none of these flavors, I have seen one of them before, but none of these flavors are traditional. So to get that kind of, I guess, Eastern Asian theme going, they've released their protein in 2 milk tea flavors. So they have brown sugar milk tea, taro milk tea, and then they have a creme brulee. So I thought it was interesting that they took that approach, and because some brands will do unique flavors, but they'll team them with a chocolate and vanilla.
Yeah.
So I I thought, Robic would be a prime. Just, what do you think? I mean, again, they've just gone full blown theme on this one. No chocolate, no vanilla.
You know what? To quote TJ, he usually likes to say, when it comes to branding and it comes to marketing, he likes to say, you need a story. I think just what you just said, that's a fucking story. Yes, I mean, I'll go back to saying, chocolate and vanilla. But to be honest with you, my company and I am based in the United States, so that's the reason why I'm judging it by that. But at the same time, when I go travel outside the United States, flavors are definitely different. And Lukasz actually has been helping me with giving me a not very traditional by United States, things. I mean, Lukasz and I have a bit of a secret going on. We have like a secret relationship. So, that's how rumors start. The thing is that I'm actually not opposed to it because you said the company is based in Australia, right?
Yeah.
They base in Australia, and if they're doing something different, then why not? I don't mind saying that or changing my tune slightly. I still believe, based on American market, that you gotta have a good chocolate and vanilla. I think that's the main thing. You might not have any other flavor whatsoever, but chocolate and vanilla you must have. Again, judging by American market, because I can even see NutraBio just posted for people to choose one of the 3 flavors they released on July 4th. I tried the apple and I thought it was absolutely terrible. That was just my take on it. And even if I would have bought it, probably the container would have lasted me for more than a year because I don't even know if I've ever used it again. But, they approach, at the end of the day, it's about taste. And once, right now it actually got out of hand popular. My post that I posted yesterday about bean protein, it was a fucking salted peanut butter. If it wasn't me respecting TJ, I would basically, if it was somebody else, I would say fuck that guy and fuck that fucking flavor. I mean, I like peanut butter, but salted peanut butter, I was just not impressed. But the thing is, he raved about it. He put it in such a way that made me reach out to him, and I tried it. And I believe they only have some kind of a chocolate, not pure chocolate brownie or chocolate something.
They have chocolate brownie and this salted peanut butter.
Yeah, you see,
just 2 flavors.
So 2 flavors,
amazing. Both of them.
So they're not very traditional. I bought it salted peanut butter. My wife had it. Carolina had it. My daughter had it. My daughter is the harshest critic ever. She had it yesterday and she really, really liked it. I had it 2 days ago and I had it yesterday. For me to drink the same protein that is not mine, because I do believe that we make the best tasting protein easily. And that was the best protein Apollon aside that I've ever had, and it was salted peanut butter. Again, something that is completely out of the box, and I would use it, and I think the container would last me only about a month. I'm actually more than willing to try the chocolate brownie as well. So I think these guys are trying something different. Again, like we have the approach to Expo. Apollon Nutrition probably never going to be at Olympia or the Arnold Classic, nor do I want to. So we're doing something different too. So if it's going to work for Australian-based company, and plus I don't know what flavors are popular in Australia because every country, every continent has a bit of a specifics to it. I don't think anything is wrong as long as the flavor is actually going to taste good. Maybe they're going to be as good as bean protein. I don't know. And especially isolate already draws attention because it's so fucking hard to do it right. Most isolate that I've tried were absolutely terrible. Few of them were acceptable. And this one was the only one that I actually really, really, really enjoyed. So if they're going to nail the flavors, then yeah, why not? More power to them.
And I think your point about differentiation is important in the story. It's so hard to differentiate in this space. Might as well, coming out with another vanilla or chocolate, or coming up with something at least that, I don't know if I like maybe milk tea, in that area in Asia is something that you actually like is reminiscent of a good flavor. Like for me, like I would never even try it because I wouldn't try milk tea. But I think like if maybe in Poland, Lukasz will come with something like vodka flavored protein or something like that, something that makes sense. Or that fish shit that you eat there.
Smoked fish.
The scent-free fish.
Yeah, exactly. The scent-free fish.
I think I thought it was a cool idea just because it's one of those things. I think if someone finds that and likes that flavor, their milk tea flavor, or even their creme brulee, it's not like they can go anywhere else to get it. Like they're going to be with their brand, and they're likely going to like the other stuff that they do.
Exactly. Right.
Well, think about it. It's also, number one, it's isolate, so that already means that it's good source of protein.
Yeah.
Number two, it's a brand new company. They're taking a risk even releasing anything on the market these days, so that's a huge risk in itself. And number three, they're releasing something that is completely out of the box. And, I'll be the first one, I guess, to brag. I also released a fucking pre-workout with 450 milligrams of caffeine that right now everybody's fucking doing it, but yet everybody thought that I was insane. So, if they nail the flavor, I don't think there is anything wrong with it. Hopefully they nail it and it's good. I'm a type of person that I would try pretty much anything. But if it's good, I'm going to continue buying it. So they're taking a risk, but I respect that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one I got is for TJ. And I think it's hard. Again, it's hard to find a story to fit for you. But this is Man Sports. And what is essentially Man Sports, they're doing a lot, as you probably saw with the new game day. But I wanted to talk about, I guess, their rebrand.
Rebrand, yeah.
It's a big shift. They're not yellow anymore.
I actually have it here. You want to see it? Like the new one?
Yeah, it's the full white label. They got the game day, the scores, the ISO. They've done it. They're spreading across to the entire brand. But what do you think about it? And they're doing kind of what Core's doing. They're reformulating, revamping a lot of their supplements. If you obviously got it in hand, what do you do? What's your take on it?
So I didn't try it yet, but I have the game day one, the nootropic. It's here. It looks nice. I do think that the brand, I don't know the entire business story behind it. Let me just start with that, because I'm sure that there's a business story behind this that says we're trying to either up our game, appeal to a more upscale audience. We're trying to, because there was a period of time over the last year or two where they were very aggressive on deals all the time, super aggressive on deals on their sites and stuff like that. So I think maybe almost like reinventing the brand and coming up with something that's a bit more upscale. That's probably what they're going. I think it looks nice. I have to say that if I would rebrand, it would look more like, it doesn't look like something that was rebranded in 2020, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not fresh, like my son would say. It's nice.
Yeah, makes sense.
it's nice. It's not bad. It's just not fresh. And I would go through a rebrand. I would do something that is more really outstanding and has more character. It looks nice. I don't think it has like actually the previous the super yellow look of Man.
I like the yellow, yeah.
I liked it, and I think it stood out.
Yeah,
It stood out. There was nothing else yellow.
Personally, I would stick to yellow look and just like maybe revamp it and just make
upgrade it.
a few tweaks. But I would stick with the yellow because it was popping. It was popping.
I agree.
And I remember like a few years ago when we had the Man Sports on our booth at the FIBO. It was booming. It was insane, and people were like, "Whoa, what is that?" Because it was the yellow look. It was popping, and it was everywhere. So yeah, man.
And I think on a shelf, like if you put it on a vitamin shop shelf or stuff like that, you look at all the proteins. It's literally the only yellow protein.
Yeah.
Look at the aminos. It was the only yellow amino, or whatever it was. It was the only yellow thing. It was really popping to the eye. I actually think that the color scheme that they chose is less apparent. If this almost feels to me like someone came and said, "Hey, I want this to look really like Apple. Like I want it to be like high-end Apple shit." And someone came up with white. But I don't think I agree with what you said, Lukasz. I don't think it fits. Like I don't know what the purpose is, but I would take the yellow.
I mean, if you remember, they were originally red and black. So they transitioned from
I know, like the
red and black, and then they switched.
But what people remember now is mostly the yellow, right? Like that's what people remember. I don't know. I would. You could settle down the yellow if you felt it's a bit too much or something like that, and get it. But anyway, I think rebranding or facelifting is something that you have to do. Like unless to find something that looks good 10 years after you started it is very, very hard. Like a website, whatever it is, right? It's the flavors change. What you are compared to changes. So 10 years ago when they launched, they were compared to X, Optimum Nutrition, whatever. Now they're compared to whatever, Redcon 1, right? With that black look and everything. So I think rebranding is makes sense. Putting something out that looks clean, I think that's where the future is for these brands, like a clean look, not to whatever pictures of skulls and shit like that. But as far as the actual end result, I don't know about the products because I didn't try it yet, but I think the look and feel wise, it's not like I think they could have done probably better to stay.
Yeah, I mean they've got a lot coming. They've I think the Game Day Nootropic was the one they dropped, but they've got a new Brain Bridge coming. Brain Bridge Elevate. That should be pretty damn cool. Yeah, they told me about the changes. It was already my favorite. And the last one I got is for Robert, and I think you're gonna like this one. And this is inspired. No, this isn't a tough one. It's inspired. I mean, there's two things that we got. Obviously, Devastator of the Union, which the formula is. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like, I mean, I would say it looks better than any of the other Devastators I ever saw them put out, and I believe it's launching in like 2 weeks, and they got the full preview on Monday. But this part is about them entering the beverage market. I thought this was a just out of left field thing.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Are they?
Yeah, they coming out. Chris dropped a picture of like carbonated amino, his EAA and his thermogenic amino, and I mean, again, I don't know if it's actually coming or when it's actually coming. Chris could be like, next month or next year. I thought it was interesting because most companies go carbonated energy drink. This, as far as I know, would be the first, outside of Extend, would be really the first diverse sports nutrition company to do a carbonated amino drink. In Europe, you get it a lot, but I thought this was an interesting move. Rather than go energy, he's gone amino. I mean, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts or how strategic you think it is.
I think it's cool. I mean, well, first off, Chris and Landon, they're both badasses when it comes to, just label design and thinking out of the box. So I like the look of the cans. Inspired's always had really slick branding, and so I like that.
Yeah.
Can you confirm, Shane, whether there is any energy component to it or not, or is it just pure aminos? And then the other one's going to have aminos plus something like paradoxine or carnitine in it.
As far as I know, there's no energy. Chris told me, he said, we're going to enter beverage, but we're not going to copy any, follow anyone else. So, and then he sent me that picture. So I was like, okay. And they're named after his amino. There's Inspired Amino, which is full spectrum EAA with hydration, and the Amino Fuego, which hasn't launched yet, which I thought was interesting that he's already planned a beverage version. But that is, I think it's like it's EAAs with, I don't know the exact ingredients. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, grains or even GB. I don't know. It's just something for sweat. But he's told me it's not stems.
Yes, it's Inspired's putting I'm pulling up the original story on the Amino Fuego. I think it's cool. It's something to diversify it. What always, I guess, makes me turn an eye is what consumer is this going towards? Because how many people buy energy drinks regularly? If I have pre-workout here, I'm not going to go and drop $2 or $3 on a can. And I realize my purchasing habits are very different from the average consumers. I do like the implementation of essential amino acids in there. It's another, I guess, healthier alternative than to like a diet soda or something. Yeah. And plus you're getting a little bit of boost of that. Do I see myself going into a store to buy something like this? If I'm doing that, probably not, just because I'm not somebody that buys energy drinks when I walk into a store. Anyway, I've got plenty of stimulants here. Do I think if they partner with the right retailer, it could go well? Because I think so, yeah. And I know that the diehard Inspired fans will go for it. I think we're always asking for innovation in the industry, and there's good innovation, and there's trying to be innovative just for being innovative's sake, which I'm never a fan of. But I mean, this is something that's cool. It's given a little bit different rift. Bang has EAAs in there, but it's such a paltry amount that it's basically nothing. So if Chris is putting, a good like 8, 9, 10 grams of essentials in there, I think that's a pretty cool thing. It'll be a worthwhile thing. I would drink it. I mean, I would enjoy drinking it. I don't know if I'm going to spend $3 a can, but if there's like a massive sale on it or something like that, I might pick up a case just to try it out and see what they were able to pull off, because their flavoring is usually top. It's top notch on everything I've tried from them. So I can't imagine that they would whiff on that here. Yeah.
So I mean, if it winds up on TJ's site, that's when you'll pick up a case.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much, man. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, that's what I got. That's all I got.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know how much do they sell like the amino energy with Optimum Nutrition, stuff like that. There's been a couple of attempts. Such a tough market right now.
Yeah. See, that's what I thought was interesting.
It's an interesting exercise.
Optimum, to be honest, Optimum's amino energy that has distribution like insane. I mean, I can pick it up.
You can still see the prices going down dramatically. I don't think they're selling a lot of it.
Yeah,
they got it in big international, like it's in Australia and New Zealand. I can pick it up on a shelf here, which is that never happens. Never happens. It's that's pretty crazy. And I actually think it's one of the best tasting, I guess, amino energy drinks I've had. Yeah. Well, they have caffeine in there as well, but
it's good. The challenge is obviously, what would you spend the money, right? Like, would you spend $2.50 or whatever it is a can for?
I do.
Like a bunch of on a what? Like on a constant basis or random when you're around it?
See, this is the thing. This is where I always find the tricky part is that you need the presence. Like if I went to a store and I wanted to grab, I don't know, Powerade or Coke Zero or whatever, just to drink with my meal, and I saw a carbonated amino drink, I would pick that up 9 times out of 10. When I'm in Europe, I grab Nocco's caffeine-free green apple.
I wanted to say this, yeah.
And in Sweden, they have it everywhere. There is almost not a store.
It's like Coke. It's basically everywhere.
It's higher on the shelf than Coke in Sweden. It's insane.
Yeah.
And so, like, in that situation, I would always drink it. I would always buy that. If I was there, that would. So for me, it's always, you got to have the presence and distribution at the start.
Mm-hmm.
But I always liked the caffeine-free approach because as much as I like energy, I don't want to sit down and have a meal and have to intake some caffeine at the same time.
Right. Yeah, and there's spots where I want something carbonated, but I don't always want
Caffeine.
Yeah, that, or just sometimes during the day. I guess that's why I go for caffeine-free diet sodas every now and then, or like the electrolyte formulas that I really like. It's like if I'm already eating a meal, I may not need aminos, or if I just finished a meal like an hour ago, do I really need the aminos? And I'm not worried about spiking protein synthesis, that frequently, because if you eat a meal and then an hour later you're drinking some aminos, your body's still in the middle of getting that initial burst in protein synthesis. So, I think it's cool. I'm wondering how it's going to be received by the population, especially since there's no caffeine in it. Because we know people love caffeine. If they don't feel something right away, it can land flat, which is why you see so many nootropic supplements automatically put caffeine in there, because if the end user doesn't feel it, or a lot of the stim-free pre-workouts, they have beta-alanine in there because they need some kind of tangible, noticeable effect. And if they don't have that, which might make the amino thermo or the amino fuego, maybe it might surprise me. It might surprise people and be a bigger seller than the regular aminos, because people will feel that warming sensation, so they might think it's working more or something like that.
Yeah, but then I always thought that was interesting that if his Fuego drink is too powerful, people might not want to sit down and drink and sweat.
Yeah, man, good stuff. Good batch of stories this week, Shane.
I tried to keep it positive, and unfortunately, I wasn't short on cool announcements. But this heaps coming.
All good stuff. So, all right, gentlemen,
crazy week,
we'll put a bow on it for this week, and everybody stay tuned for the upcoming Stack3d Virtual Expo this coming week.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
Hell yeah.
So, all right,
Can't wait.
Any closing remarks? Are we good, guys?
We're good.
All right. Well, have a great rest of the weekend, and we will see y'all next week.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.